mum on it.
Oh,
And
that
I was
is
like,
okay. Same here.
I,
My son keeps crying, so we'll see.
oh
He
my
should
God,
be
I
okay.
know I can hear my baby in the background. Oh my God, I really hope my
Well, if
mum
you
can
need
figure this
to, if you need to go out there at all, like I totally understand. Go for it.
out. Oh, no worries. Okay, whoops, have I found, there we go. Yay, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I'm so excited. It's been like a long time coming. Excited to have
I
you.
know. Your podcast really got me through I had 6 weeks of I'm actually just gonna shut this window. Can you hear my cat meowing in the background?
No.
Just adopted a very, very needy meow meow cat outside. Hello.
Oh,
But yeah, your podcast really got me through. I had 6 weeks of looking after my newborn on my own because my husband was away. And I would sit in this room that we're in right now. I'd put my salt lamp on, I'd nurse the baby to sleep, and I'd put on your podcast and I'd listen to the episodes. And your voice made me feel so calm. And I would just
oh,
have the most amazing sleep, the best dreams. And I just felt so good. And it became my ritual to do on my own. I was just telling my husband, oh, it's so special to be talking to you now because you were such a big part of those few weeks of me being on my own when my husband was away with these
oh,
four
that
little
makes me feel
children.
so
So
good.
yeah, thank you so much.
Oh man, you're a Wonder Woman. I don't know how you did that alone while your husband was away. I mean, I had my husband here. My son, he's going to be a year old in February, but the first few months, he's my third. And like he was just
Mm,
colicky the whole time for like 4 months straight. And I had my daughter, an 18-month-old, running around. And so
oh my goodness.
it was a
And so
very
close in age.
yes. Yeah. It's really nice now because they're starting to play together. But in the
Yeah.
beginning, it was so hard. Like I felt like I was losing my mind or something. So, oh
I can't
man.
imagine. I was not as brave a woman as you are. I think all my kids are about 2.5 years apart. So I've got
Yeah.
like 2 years, 4 months apart. I've done that age gap twice. And then my first age gap was 2 years, 10 months apart. So
Okay.
I had a little bit of extra time in between.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's just it's fun. It's challenging, but I mean, I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
want anything else. So it's the greatest thing in life, right? And you
In,
have
in
five of
all the
them.
land, absolutely. I know. Well, I have my stepson Isaac as well. So he's
Okay.
the one that really planted the seed in me to want to be a mummy. And then from that point on, we just went for it. I was like, I want as many children as possible. And then, so we have four together, and I would still like some more. I'm trying to manifest my twins, my boy
Oh,
girl twins.
wow. You are so
Yeah, I've
brave.
always said that's what I want. I was like, I want to finish my family with boy girl twins because twins really run in the family. It's rife in my family.
Oh, okay.
And I just always expected to have twins. Everyone was like, Teresa's the one that's going to have twins. So I'm still trying to call these twins in. I was like, oh, my
Hmm.
little boy, my little girl, they're out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, you'll manifest it. I have no doubt.
uh,
Yeah, well, I just wanted to kind of give a brief overview for anyone. I'm sure everyone knows who you are, but in case anyone's
probably not.
watching this, listening, Teresa Palmer is an actress, an author, a business owner, and a mom. So seriously, Wonder Woman. And definitely you guys need to watch Discovery of Witches. Binge worthy. I love it. It's so good. And now the new season's
Oh,
out and I'm so excited. That's
thank
kind of
you.
that has actually, it's so funny because that kind of became my nighttime ritual. My kids, when I'm putting them to bed, I'll just kind of like lay in bed with them while they fall asleep. And so I always have my headphones in,
Mhm.
and that's like really the only time I get in my day where it's like just I can watch something for myself and just like
Just you.
relax just for
Yeah.
me. Yeah. And so that's
Oh,
what I've
I
been
love it.
watching. And it's like, I don't know. It's just so nice. It's like, I never get that opportunity in the day. And so,
Oh,
that little bit
I
of
know. I
time
always
at the
get
end of the
nuts.
day. Yeah,
Yep.
it's
End of the
great.
day when they're in bed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. So, okay, I don't even know where to start. Let's start with, I know you and I have talked a little bit on Instagram,
Mhm.
and I was telling you how my daughter wants to be an actress, which
I
she's a huge fan of yours,
know.
by the way. She's going to be so
Bless
excited when
her.
she hears that I interviewed you. She knows I'm interviewing you, but um yeah, so she's trying to manifest that. Her vision board
With
is
success.
crazy. She has like a huge vision board on Pinterest and she's so into it. But I know on Instagram, you had mentioned to me about your own experience getting started at a young
Mhm.
age in the acting industry. So, and that had
Yeah,
a little bit to do with manifesting, didn't it?
it
Writing in
did.
your journal.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing at the time, obviously.
Yeah.
I think I didn't even know what the word meant probably until 2000 and I'd say 12, around that time, 2011, maybe 2011 was when I really got into it.
Mhm.
But when I was a kid, I grew up, I had a split home. So I'd go to my dad's house on the weekends and then I would be with my mom. And with my mom, we lived in housing trust units, which is the same as sort of government housing here.
Mhm.
And so lived in this really small place, like right on this main road, and the trucks would blare past, and the whole house would like shake every night.
Oh, wow.
And I remember thinking, well, the first thing I'm going to do when I become a famous actress is I'm going to buy my mum a house, and that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to live by the beach. That's what I really want. Is I want us to be able to live by the beach. Um, and I had been journaling since I was 14. I still have all the journals. It's really fun to read back
Oh,
on
I love
just all
doing
my
that.
experiences, but also, I love it so much. And to go back and realize how much I have manifested from what I
Yeah.
used to write about.
Yeah.
There's just so much about being an actress, and even like I had such a big crush on this football player. Oh my goodness, such a big crush. And I wrote about him for years and years, and then he ended up becoming my boyfriend. He was like the love of my he was my first
Oh,
love. And
wow. I didn't know that.
and yeah, and like in my journal, I would dedicate like full blank pages to like, I love so and so. I'm going to be with him. He's going to be my first love. We're going to live together, and all these things unfolded like 4 or 5 years later. So yeah, it's really interesting to go back and read through my journals. And one of the things that I wrote down, I think I got the acting bug bit me when I was about 14. And I said to my dad, I think at first I wanted to be like this woman on Australian television, Catriona was her name. She was on Getaway. And it was
Mhm.
this show, a travel show, where she was the television host of this travel show, and she would travel around the world. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to travel. I want to travel around the world, and I want to get paid to travel and be on TV. These are the things I really wanted to do. So at first I started thinking about being a TV presenter. And then I sort of pivoted into becoming an actress because I got really obsessed with Nicole Kidman. And at about 15, I was like, right, I'm going to look up Nicole Kidman, and I'm going to look up what agency she's with. And I just want to know, like, how did she get where she is? She's such a huge movie star. Um, and I looked it up, and she was at this agency called the William Morris Agency. So I wrote down in my journal, I'm going to be represented by the William Morris Agency. I am 15 years old, and you watch this space. I'm going to be represented by them. And I truly believed that I was going to be an actress. I just
Mhm.
believed it. There was no other alternative. People would say, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And it's like, oh, I'm going to be an actress. Okay, well, what's your plan B? No, I'm just going to be an actress, and I'm going to be a mum. I'm going to have lots of kids, and I'm going to be an actress. And they were my two things. I just didn't waver from those two things. And at a certain point, I think I turned 16, my dad finally started paying for acting lessons. At a certain point, he was like, well, you do need to have a plan B. What's it going to be? And I was like, all right, babies. I want to work with babies. So becoming a midwife, like in the parenting
Mhm.
space, like that's what I want to do. So that was sort of my plan B. And it's funny to look back on that now. And all those things are a part of my life. I have
Oh
Your Zen
yeah.
Mama. We've written a parenting book, myself and my co-author, Sarah Wright Olson, and then the acting and then the children. But yeah, I think I just had that true deep belief. I just knew it was going to happen and that I would set myself and my mum up to have a different kind of life together. And it just started happening. It started happening in 2004. I got my first job. My dad paid for acting lessons. I got this tiny little job in Adelaide. We door knocked to get money to raise money for this film. And it was this little student film. And I threw my everything into it. And it ended up premiering at Cannes, the Cannes Film Festival in 2006. And to
That's
have that
huge.
be I've wanted to go back to Cannes since then, and I never have. And that was my
Wow.
very first experience, was having this standing ovation at Cannes, like in 2006. I never know how to say it right, Cannes or Cannes. I think everyone says it differently.
Yeah, I'm not
Um,
sure.
but that was such an incredible experience. And then it all just sort of snowballed from there. And I bought that house for my mum. I bought it
Oh,
by the beach in 2005. So the following year, with my first big paycheck, I
oh,
bought the
that's
house
so
as a
sweet.
surprise for her.
Oh my
It was just
gosh.
so nice. And I filled every drawer with everything she could possibly want, and clothes and handbags and all the things she never had. And my boyfriend at the time, who was that boy that I had just envisioned being
Uh-huh.
with, him and I, we set up the house and put pictures of my mum and her dad on the wall, and just filled it like a turnkey home. And then surprised her, and
Oh my
she had
gosh.
her first house, which was so
Oh, that is so
lovely.
sweet. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I always had
Yeah, it
that
was a
vision
lovely
too, that
experience.
someday I'm going to buy my parents, a nice house. And, I was talking about this. I have a mastermind group and we were talking about like your why, and if your
Mm-hmm.
why is strong enough, then it's like no doubt or fear or obstacle can stand in your way because your why is so strong. And so it's like, and that's so sweet. Like
Yeah.
your why was like buying a house for your mom. And
Yeah.
your story, just Alexis is going to love this when she watches it because she, like you, she does not have a plan B. Like she's going to be an
Yep.
actress. She's so
Yep.
set on
She
it.
is.
And we were at my parents' house the other day for dinner, and my dad and my grandma started in on well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she's like, well, I'm going to be an actress. And my grandma's like, well, that's really hard. Not a lot of people make it. So you should probably have a backup plan. And my dad's like, you need to be a doctor. And like, they're just hounding her with like all these different things she should do. And she was kind of getting like frustrated. And I'm just like, don't let anyone else get in your head. Just stay believing
Stay the
that you can
course.
absolutely have it because that's such a big part is just believing, having like
Yeah.
unwavering faith that's going to unfold.
Yeah. I love my husband and I. See, I hadn't let him in on my the Law of Attraction Tribe podcast experience yet,
Mhm.
because that was what I was doing for myself. And then I'd
Yeah.
see him and we would end up chatting. So I was like, I really feel like listening to this with you. And so we were in Fiji just over the Christmas holidays, and we're staying at this place, and I put on the podcast episode where you talk about let the universe figure out the how.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, that was the most profound thing. He's like, that is exactly what I needed to hear. He's
Oh,
like, we
wow.
don't have to figure out the how. He was like, the universe provides that for us. And we have been leaning into that so much over the past couple of weeks that Mark will remind me as well. We don't need the universe to tell us how. It will figure it out. We don't need
Yeah.
to actively work on the how. We just
Mm-hmm.
have to be so clear in our goal and what our intentions are, and work towards us in all the ways that we organically do. And then the universe is going to figure out all the rest for us. And it was a really lovely moment connecting with him, because we read a lot together. We read a lot of like Eckhart Tolle, and
Mm-hmm.
we listen to stuff here and there. But then I was like, I felt really called to bring him into my experience with your podcast. And he just loved it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Yeah, you knew he needed to hear that little piece of
Mm-hmm.
wisdom. It's so funny.
Yeah.
You're like the fifth person this week that's told me that they got their husband to start listening to it, which I think is so
No
funny because I
way.
always feel like I'm talking to like other women, but then I'm like, no, like there's guys can listen to this too, and they can, understand the law of
Yeah.
attraction and manifesting. Cause I know it does kind of draw on like that feminine energy, but everyone has both the masculine and
Mm-hmm.
feminine. And yeah, I
Yes.
know. I try to get my own husband to listen, and I try to get him to do podcasts with me, and he's like not having it. He believes in it, but he's like, you can handle that part. So
Yeah, that's like my husband. He definitely believes in it, but he knows that I'm really passionate about it.
mhm.
But he was like, Stephanie's like next level. He always talks about people leveling up, and he's like, she's leveled up. Like she's like the highest level. So that was
Oh,
really
that's
cool.
amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That I needed that little
That's
confidence boost.
all
Yeah, I know. It's like
right.
sometimes I'm talking into my microphone and I'm like, is anyone like really listening? And so I really appreciate it. Whenever people give me
Yeah.
feedback, I'm like, okay, someone heard that. Like maybe it made a difference.
Yeah. And in fact, I was with a friend yesterday who was like, oh, I've been listening to this amazing podcast. It's called Law of Attraction Tribe.
No
And it's
way.
this woman, she's got this incredible voice. This is one of my good friends.
Oh
And
my
she was like,
gosh.
I've got to send you her stuff. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I was like, do you know who I'm speaking to tomorrow? She was like, I'm so jealous. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So that was just a really wonderful serendipitous moment. I was like, wow, we've both gravitated towards this. And her and I are very like-minded.
Mhm.
And so I actually wasn't surprised. I was like, of course we're listening to the same thing. Of course we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Oh, that's so much fun when you like find a podcast or like a show or something that your friends watching, and then you can like talk about it and go through it together. It's awesome. I love
Yeah,
that.
totally.
So I wanted to ask you, I saw that I think you posted in your stories or something that you guys are like moving or you're manifesting another house. What's going on with that?
Yes. Yeah. So it's really an interesting one. So I was lying in bed, and I think over the last few months, we've been over the pandemic, we were living in Wales. I was shooting a Discovery of Witches, and we're living in this really big, spacious home that they put us up in. And the kids could just run everywhere. And there was a big pool, and it was an indoor pool because in Wales it gets very cold. So we just had a lot of space. And then here in Adelaide, where I am, we have this really unique home. It used to be it's almost a warehouse. It used to be the school camp. And so our main living space is the size of a school hall, if you can imagine,
Oh,
like
wow.
where assemblies are held.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
again, lots of space. The kids ride their bikes in the room. And
Oh, wow.
then
That is next
our
level.
home in yeah, it's funny. It's a 2-bedroom home, so the kids all are in 1 bedroom, but with this ginormous living space. So it's a really unique property, and we've got 10 acres of land, and so they can just sort of run off into the land. But then in LA, it was our tree house. So we have this tree house, and I love it. It's all wood and very earthy and hippie and so our vibes. But I feel like we've outgrown it, and I've been feeling that I guess since Poet reached running around age, because there's really only one small living space, and then it's their bedrooms. And everyone kind of felt on top of each other, and it was really hard to keep up on, like, the mess was getting so intense. The kids' toys were everywhere. They're in the main room. And I just started having this general feeling of, I love this house. I love what it represented for us, how it served us, and the memories we made here when we were younger. And I'm so connected to it, but I'm feeling like it belongs to someone else now, someone else with a smaller family. And I'm like dying to have that dream home in Los Angeles, because I really feel like we've been experiencing that in Australia. And whilst it was always our dream home, now that we have 2 extra children, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on Redfin. I'm just going to go on Redfin. Everyone's been telling me there are no houses to buy, like there's nothing on the market. And I found this house, and it was double and a half the amount of our home. So out of our realm of reality, what we thought was our realm of reality. We're like, oh gosh, what a dream. And I said to my husband, you know what? Let's just go to the house inspection for manifesting purposes. Let's just go, and we're going to walk
just
through
like me.
Oh my gosh. It was so funny because I was like, I'm just going to go so I can walk in the rooms and I can imagine what it would feel like to have the kids with all their own bedrooms. Because at our other house, the kids were sharing bedrooms. And I was like, imagine a home where there's a bedroom for every child, and there's a bedroom for my mom, and we've got a guest house out the back, and let's just go see. And it was only 5 minutes away from our home. So we walked around, and Mark walked in, looked around, and was like, I would sell everything for this house. Every single thing that we own, I would do anything to get this house. I was like, whoa, hold up. Like, let's just like hold that space. Let's walk around, feel those vibes and that excitement and that buzz. And then, that'll help propel us to do all the things we need to do to be able to get a house like this one day. So we walked around, we felt the vibes. I made the mistake, well, maybe it wasn't a mistake now in hindsight, but I brought Bodhi with me, my almost 8-year-old son. And he ran from room to room and was like, this one's my bedroom, and this one's Forrest's bedroom, and this is where Pollett's going to live, and Isaac's going to have this room, and Nana will be down here, and oh my gosh, there's a cinema, and like he just was going nuts, like just running around, and like held my hands and looked me in the eyes and was like, Mommy, can we have this house? Can we afford this house?
Aww.
And I was really honest with him, and I was like, you know what, bud, at the moment, presently, we can't afford this house. Mummy's show's just finished. I don't have another gig yet. We can't afford it right now, but I'm so glad you love this house. And it's the sort of home that one day we're going to live in. I promise one day we'll live in a home like this. But then of course I went home and I said to Mark, I mean, should we just ask if we could get a home like this? Let's just ask. So I rang my realtor friend and was like, I know this is crazy. It's way out of our price range, but like, what do you think about this house? And she was like, let me just go look at it for you. She then hooked me up with a mortgage broker. And the mortgage broker said, look, if you sell your home that you're currently in, I didn't realize how much it had appreciated. It had gone up so much in price from when we bought it in 2012, that actually the deposit for a house of that amount of money was sitting in our current home. The money that we've paid down and the equity that we have sitting in that house is the amount of money we would need to put a down payment on this beautiful, incredible home. Wow. So I said to Mark, look, this is a big risk. We could just try it, and the owners probably won't accept an offer that's contingent on us selling our current home, but whatever, it's been on the market for 8 months. Let's just give it a go. We wrote them a letter, and they accepted it. So they accepted our
congratulations.
Offer. Oh, thank you so much.
So exciting.
Look, it was underpriced. It was such a long shot. It was a 60-day escrow period, which actually we asked for 90 days, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. But I think because it was over the holiday period, they weren't expecting to get any offers at that time. And we just went for it. We did 2 weeks of going from like living in our house to moving out of the house, renovating our house, just 2 weeks of mayhem, living with other people, sending the kids to school, and sleeping on mattresses and camping. It was just a crazy hustle. And yeah, ultimately they accepted our offer. We have now our house is on the market. We've just received a few offers for our home.
Oh, wow.
And we need to get enough on our current home to be able to buy the other home. And right now it's looking good. And it went from absolutely feeling impossible to this is more of a reality than it's not. And it will become an investment property. So it will be Airbnb whenever we are not there. Mm-hmm. So that it's actually generating income for us, and we're making passive income. And my financial strategist was like, well, this will accelerate things financially for you guys, because the amount of income you can make on a home like this when you guys are away so much from Los Angeles, she's like, this is a wonderful investment, and this was a great idea. So
oh wow,
look, fingers crossed. there's been a few little bumps in the road. We had an offer come in on our house that got pulled. That happened last week, and we just had to pivot and readjust and trust the universe. And I said to Mark, like, that person wasn't our buyer. We're
Yeah.
going to find the right buyer for our home. And I
Mm-hmm.
still feel really, I think he got a little bit disenfranchised. He was like, are we not meant to have Mirror Lake? And I still feel like that home is our home. And I'm just trusting in the universe. And it's guided us so beautifully so far that I'm giving over to this experience, and I'm, keeping the faith.
Yeah, it wasn't the right buyer. The right buyer will come and probably have an
Mm-hmm.
even better offer, or just be someone that you'll feel really good about handing this home
Mm-hmm.
over to. So, yeah, it's so funny because you mentioned Redfin, and they
Yeah.
actually reached out to me to write. They're going to feature me in their article on manifesting your dream home in 2022. And you want to know the tip that I gave them? I said, put yourself in the house. Just call your realtor, go to the open house, exactly what you guys did. That was my tip that I submitted to them, because we did the same thing. My husband and I, when we were like so broke and just living in this like really old house that was just, it was not in good shape. And then we had our
Mm-hmm.
daughter, and I was like, I don't want to raise her here. And we
Mm-hmm.
were just getting started out. Like I was fresh out of college, and like we didn't have any money. And that's what we did. We ended up just like for fun. I was like, just play along with me, like just pretend, like let's just pretend. And like we got a realtor and had her like show us all these houses. And then we found the one, and it was the one.
My goodness.
And with that one, um, like weird things kept happening where like our offer wasn't accepted. We got like outbid, like all these weird things were happening. And I started thinking like, okay, maybe we're not supposed to have it. And then finally I just said, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And I just like let it
Mm-hmm.
go.
And you let go.
And we ended up getting the house, and we lived
Wow.
there for a few years. That's where, we kind of like raised our daughter before we moved to Florida. So
Wow. I love that
yeah, I
story. And I
love
love
that
what
you
you said.
guys did that and went in the house. And it's just crazy
We
because
just
it
went in
took
the
it
house.
from like this unrealistic possibility to actually not just a reality, but a good investment for you guys.
Mm,
That's so
exactly.
exciting.
It's actually going to end up financially being the thing that will, because my goal, I guess, is to set ourselves up financially enough so that work becomes a choice rather than I have to take this film or I have to
Mhm.
take this show. Because I think in previous years, I was the one bringing in the income in our family. And there was a charge to some of the things that I chose in my career because I felt like I had to take these opportunities because we
Yeah.
needed the money.
Uh-huh.
And we're a big family, and private school is expensive. My stepson's at a private school, and
Yeah.
I was like, it's expensive. Life's expensive. So we really want to live half time in Australia. So even just airfares to be in Australia half the time,
Oh, I
that's
bet.
expensive too.
Yeah.
So 2022 for us, our keyword is abundance. So connection in abundance with friends, love in abundance, acceptance in abundance, financial freedom in abundance, all these things. And already this year, I'm a big fan of Susan Miller's astrology zone. And
Mhm.
I read in my astrology that she was like, 2022 is going to be the best year of your life for me and all the other millions of people who are Pisces. But I really held on to that. And I was like, it is going to be the best year of my life. It already is the best year of my life. And we are just welcoming in this keyword of abundance. And so far, I'm feeling so great this year, and I'm seeing all these things come to fruition. And I loved what you just said about the letting go aspect, because I talk often to people about manifesting. I have so many friends in my life who come to me like, help me manifest.
Yeah.
And I think I've had the most success because I manifested my husband. I feel like I've manifested my children and all those sorts of wonderful things in my life. And I always say that it's about the letting go as well.
Mhm.
And I think I have been obsessive over things to the point where I'm approaching them from a place of lack. I don't have enough. I need this
Yeah.
thing. I need it.
Right.
Whereas when I come at it from a place of I'm in abundance. I have everything I need. I feel happy. I'm so content with where I'm at. I'd love to welcome this into my life. That's when I find I have success. And often with my manifest boards, I'll actually make them, put so much love into them, and then I put them away. I just sort of put them off to the side. I don't look at them and obsess every day.
Right.
You know, I really want to show you this for a second, in case anyone's watching this. I just want to show you this one wall here. I've kept it up because it was a little manifest that I've kept up. So this is my home here, and in this cupboard, I always said that I wanted to have a daughter. I wanted to have a daughter more than I've probably ever wanted anything in my entire life. And I said that this is where I would hang her dresses. So what I did was I made a board with little girls and a lot of little sisters on there. And you can see it's all peeling off, but I've kept my boards in here. I stuck these up in 2015. And they're all like peeling up, but you can see all these pictures of little girls and families and sisters, and you can see the boys in the tree, and then this is where all my daughters' clothes are.
So cute.
Which is so, and so I kept this up as just a reminder that the power of the want, the need, but then the letting go. I was so content with my little boys, and so I just loved them so much, and I just felt so grateful that I had healthy babies, and I even had the opportunity to have children. And then I just said, but I want to call in the experience of being a mother to a daughter, because it was just me and mum growing up, and that relationship that I have with her is so special. And I just want to have that experience. And I felt, in some ways, I felt guilty because I just, the fact that I was even lucky enough to have children, but then the idea that I could maybe feel what it was like to parent a daughter as well. And then, but not only did we get Poet, we have beautiful Poet, I accidentally, my surprise pregnancy, and as soon as I found out I was pregnant and I figured out what the age gap was, 2.5 years, 2 years, 4 months, which is what I had always been saying was my ideal age gap. I found I was pregnant. I was like, oh my God, this baby will be born 2 years, 4 months after Poet. That's funny because Poet was born 2 years, 4 months after Forest. And I said to Mark, this is a girl. I know this is a girl because we have manifested this baby, and this is going to be a little girl. And almost a year exactly to her birthday, the year before, we wrote in the sand, really big in the sand, and I took a picture of it in August 2020. I wrote Prairie, which is always going to be my next daughter's name. And we wrote Prairie really big. And I was on a beach in Kangaroo Island, and I took a photo of it, and then I let it go. And then I didn't obsess about when my daughter was going to come. And then sure enough, from one time, not when we thought that I could get pregnant, it was such a shock and a surprise. And we were just absolutely blown. I was in the middle of shooting season 3 of A Discovery of Witches, not the ideal time to have a belly and get pregnant and have morning sickness and all those things. And I said to Mark, this is Prairie. And it was, which was really special.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The universe definitely planned that. That was manifested for sure. And that's such a good point too, with the vision boards, because like I kind of do that too, where I'll make something. Like I have a vision board hanging up in my closet that I made like 2 years ago, and I really haven't like touched it or done anything with it. But I think there is power to that, because it's like you created it, but then you're not sitting there and like looking at it every day and like, oh, I need to change this. I need to add this. So that's such a good reminder, because I think so often we're like, so, we keep holding on to it. And I have to have this to be happy.
Trying to control the outcome. And I just find that the success I've had with manifesting in my life always comes when I let it go. And I had secondary infertility after Bodhi, and I know everyone says that, like, oh, just let it go, but in my case that really helped. Like I was becoming overly obsessed and really angry, like when I wasn't getting pregnant and everyone else was getting pregnant around me, and And then I just came to a place, I listened to a lot of Alan Watts, you know, that spiritual
Uh-huh.
teacher, Alan Watts.
Yeah.
And I listened to a lot of him the week I conceived my son, actually, because I just decided this isn't serving me. This isn't healthy. My obsessiveness over getting pregnant is like breaking my spirit and tearing Mark and I apart. Like, I have a divine little human being that I love so much in my son Bodhi, and he's was my world and everything. And I just I was listening to Alan Watts, and I just had this like very specific moment of, I have everything I need. I have everything in abundance. I'm so grateful. I'm so lucky. And then that week we conceived Forrest after having losses and just trying so hard to have a baby. But yeah, it's like I had to change my mindset in that moment of, I have enough.
Yeah.
Everything's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I had a similar experience. I had Alexis, and then for 10 years, like didn't have another child and thought that I couldn't, and, did all the tests and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And it was just like, I got to the point where it was like every month I was just so heartbroken, and it was like breaking me. Like it was just a constant disappointment. And then I found myself getting to the point where I was like envious of other people. And I'm like, I don't want to like feel envious of someone else's like amazing gift of like getting
birth
pregnant.
announcement.
Yeah. And I was getting that way. And I'm like, I don't want to be like this. And I went and scheduled an appointment with a fertility specialist. And I was like, I just need you to tell me, like, I need to have someone just tell me, like, it's not going to happen, because I can't keep living like this, where like every month I'm hoping. So I just need an answer today. And so basically he was like, well, you have this like health condition. So it's just, he's like, I won't even do fertility treatments for that reason. And it's just not safe. So like, no, I'm in my opinion, my medical opinion, I'm telling you no. So I was like, okay, thank you. Like I needed to hear that. And I like cried the whole day. And then I was like, okay, like I accept that and I'm going to move on with my life and I'm letting it go. That month I got pregnant with Amelia.
Oh my goodness.
And
Yeah.
I know, like I know in my heart it was because I let go of, and I know if I would have gotten pregnant any other time, I probably wouldn't have Amelia. So it's like divine timing too, just trusting that everything happens when it's
Absolutely.
supposed to. And you had a really
Absolutely. I'm such a big
intense
believer.
experience with your baby girl that you, right? I was reading a blog article, and that was kind of a intense one.
Oh,
But you
the
got
birth, you mean?
the birth story.
Oh
Yeah.
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 I was reading that and I'm
Yeah.
like, man.
Another good like universe lesson, I think,
Yeah.
for me. Because I really got that beautiful lesson on letting go of the control from my first birth, because that sort of really did not go to plan. And it actually so beautifully set me up for parenthood, because parenthood is peaks and valleys always.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just such a great lesson on, wow, like you need to be ready to pivot and not have expectations. So with my fourth birth, it was a challenging birth. She was posterior, so meaning she was sunny side up, and I could feel her in. I was in what I thought was transition for the longest time, and usually my transition's quite fast before I get to start pushing, and I love the pushing stage. I feel really productive when I'm pushing. But this transition just seemed to be going on and on and on and on. I'm sort of looking at everyone like, oh God, when is this going to stop? And I could, my mind was, I was just sort of, I had to switch up my mindset, because it was like, this is so hard. There's something wrong. Why haven't we got to pushing? Well, and I could just hear the negative, just the committee in my mind, like all these negative thoughts. And then it was actually making the contraction so intense that I felt like I wasn't able to get on top of them. And then finally I was just like, I changed things to, yes, thank you, welcome baby, I'm so excited, I'm going to see you. And move down, Baba, move your head down, because I could feel up there, I could feel her face, which is not what you should be feeling when you feel out, that
Right.
you should be feeling, a nice like thing of hair on the back of their
Yep.
head. But I was feeling like the bridge of her nose. So I knew that her chin was not down, and she was going to be a brow presentation. So I was like, move down, baby, move down. Like, mommy's here. And I just imagined her shifting her head down. I just kept thinking of her, like bringing her head down, bringing her head down. And I did that probably for 3 contractions, and I sort of wiggled my hips around, and then I could feel her actively move into place. And I was like, phew, now I get to push.
Wow. It's so incredible. Especially, I mean, being in that situation where you're so exhausted and you're in so much
Mhm.
pain, to be able to, control your mind that way, like to shift it and start having those more positive
Mhm.
and supportive thoughts is just incredible. I mean, like I said in the beginning, you're Wonder Woman.
Oh, it was,
I don't know how
oh,
you
you're
did
so
it at that
sweet.
point. It's so easy to just
It
give
was
in.
so challenging. It was
Yeah.
so, I remember at the time being like, I'm never doing this again. Like, I mean, how many of us in childbirth have said
Oh yeah.
that? I was like, I'm just not doing this again. But then, of course, the moment she sort of shifted down, I was like, oh, this is what I was waiting for.
Yeah, you're like,
And
I
then when
got
she
this.
came
This
out, I
is
was
no
like,
problem.
I can't wait to do it again.
Yep, that's funny how that happens. I think we all say that at some
Yeah.
point.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, well, this is so nice. I'm so glad that you took the time to come on here. And just talk about your experiences, because I've just found that a lot of the people that I admire that have had success like you have had, I feel like they all have these commonalities around manifesting. And even though I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
people, especially, actresses, don't always come out and say it, like say law of
Mhm.
attraction or say manifesting, because maybe like
Yeah.
they're worried they'll be
There's a stigma.
judged. There's a stigma.
Mhm.
But I feel like their actions, like if you listen to what they're doing, they're following the steps. They're just not calling it the
Absolutely.
law of attraction. So
Absolutely.
I just
Yeah, I've read an
appreciate
interview
hearing
with,
this from you.
oh, thank you. I have read an interview with Jim Carrey. I don't know if you've read his stuff before, where he
Yeah.
talks about manifesting all the time, even how he
Hmm.
envisioned his $10 million
Yep.
paycheck that he was going to get for his movie. And he wrote himself a $10 million paycheck, like a blank check, and
Yeah.
was like, that's what's going to happen. It's going to
Hmm.
happen to me. And I remember reading that years ago about him. And really, that's when it sunk in 2012, when I started doing a lot of this law of attraction work. I was like, oh, wow, look at my life. Look at all these aspects of my life. And then I was really looking for my man, my partner. So that's what
Hmm.
I took on everything that I learned. I wrote out my dream man. It's like, he's coming in October. This is when he's come. He's amazing. And then I found my partner that way. And so it was only because there are people who are willing to share their stories and be
Hmm.
vulnerable, and you put yourself out there to be judged and to be
Yeah.
criticized, and
Right.
because we are in a certain position where people can say, oh, well, that's easy for you to say. I mean, look how much
Hmm.
privilege you have. So I've always like found it's a delicate dance of wanting to be so open, and that's why I feel so safe on this platform to be able to talk about it, because I know all the people listening to this are really interested in this
Yeah.
kind of work, and I truly believe in it. It is such a huge, huge part of my life, and has had a profound impact on my experiences so far. And I try and tell everyone I know about it, especially if they're a younger person. I'm always like, you got this. What are your dreams? Like, you will reach your dreams. Just believe in it. Keep going forward. And I look forward to seeing your daughter one day, sharing the stage
Yes.
with her somewhere. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll be
yeah.
in
I was
something
just
together
gonna
one
say,
day.
like, she's gonna listen to this, and it's gonna change her. You'll be like the how Jim Carrey was to you, and she'll just remember that.
Oh,
And I'm sure you'll be that person for a lot of people listening, because you're proof of, you know, you've manifested all these incredible things in life, and not just your career and money, but your husband and your kids and this very fulfilling
mhm.
life. And you're just proof that it's possible. So by sharing this, you really
Oh,
you're
thank
that
you.
person that's showing everyone else it's possible for them too. So just
Oh,
know how
thank you
much
so
good you're
much.
doing.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Well, you're amazing. You're changing lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was so nice talking to you. We'll be in touch soon.
All right. Beautiful. Bye.
All right. Bye.